Well, good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live Carolina Panthers talk. Brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. And also, happy first day of Black History Month. February 1st is here. Hope everybody had a blessed January. Hope everybody's 2023 started off well in the first month. And so thankful that everybody made it to February. Good to be back on here. Good to see y'all. We got a good bit to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about some of the major points of new Carolina Panthers head coach Frank Reich. His first press conference since becoming head coach. We're also going to talk about a little bit about the supposed lawsuit of Matt Rhule to the Carolina Panthers organization. We're going to talk about some updates with the coaching staff. There was a move made, and we know that a couple of folks are staying. And more. It's quite a bit going around. So we're gonna get into some deep discussions tonight. So stay with me as long as you can. Before we get started, be sure to check out the link for Game Beauty in the description box for a good lineup of video game themed makeup and cosmetic products. If you're interested in making a purchase, be sure to use the promo code BlitzballChamp, all in caps, and you can get 10% off of your order. So put that to good use. Now, a couple of things. Let me get another swig. So, Frank Reich had his press conference, and I've put the link to the full transcript in the description box as provided by Panthers.com. And there's a lot. There was a lot to digest. I got a chance. I checked out the archive of this. I wasn't able to catch it live, but I did check out the archive. There's a lot to digest. And to be honest with you, Frank Reich, he's saying a lot of the things that I would think that we would want to hear. It really just all comes down to application. That's really what this will all come down to. But it seems very clear that Frank Reich has a vision. He has a plan. So we're gonna break down some of the things that he said. Gonna definitely get into this. Super Trebo, welcome to the stream. Sup, Jason? Well, Michael Myers has retired, or he says he's always seemed to come back. Tom Brady, just like Michael Myers. Is he really done? Put it this way, Super Trebo. If it gets all the way to training camp and we don't hear a thing about Tom Brady, then we know that he's legit retired. Let's put it that way. If we make it to training camp and he's not on a team, he's retired. Just to play it safe. Just to play it safe. But with Frank Reich, he talked about the four pillars. Ownership, players, coaching staff, fans. Those are the four pillars that he wants for his vision to really be a success. Those 4 pillars have to hit on the money. The ownership, the players, coaching, fans. Those are the 4 pillars. One of the things that he said that I really was impressed with was when he was talking his initial thoughts about the team, about just the current roster, barring, without any sort of changes or anything happening. Just what he said, reflecting on the current roster. He talked about building a top level defense. Now, he specified a top 10 defense is going to give you a chance in every game, but a top 5 defense is what can really elevate you as a team. That you can not only be in every game, but you can find a way to win every game when you have a top 5 defense, which is clear that we did some things last season with the defense, but we were never anywhere close to a top 5 or a top 10 defense. There's a lot of room to improve on. Kevin, welcome to the stream. Hello. I really thought that Frank Reich press conference went well. He seemed sincere. Everyone knows what the problem is, the quarterback position. Yeah, absolutely. He brought the fire in that press conference. Super Trebo says, speaking of Frank Reich speech, Jason, did you see Tepper and his wife during the speech? It's as if they were so tired and fed up with losing, just like us fans. Their body language said it all. I mean, I would hope that's the case. I would hope as many people, as many fans as possible is tired and fed up. I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody that would feel that way. Kevin says, I want a top 5 offense and defense. Travis Kelce will be a great addition. If not, we can draft a tight end. Something tells me we're probably gonna draft a tight end, but we have to see what's out there. But some other things that he said is the roster that we have here on defense. Or actually, let me backtrack. He said, we understand we're in a league that's offensively driven in many ways. Kind of the secret sauce is create and build upon the momentum. The players, the roster that we have here on defense, get the right coaches so we have the right scheme that accentuate their gifts. It's not going to go through player by player. So he's talking about how well the defense stood out. He also said offensively was really encouraged as I watched kind of second half of the season and dig into the tape a little bit. There's so much to build on. The offensive line, the running game. We got receivers that can get vertical down the field. Running backs were strong. Deontay Foreman looked strong at the end of the year. That's going to be really important for us to get the ball vertically down the field. Continue to build this roster so we can improve in all 3 phases, which of course brings you to special teams, which were top-ranked special teams this past year. It's an essential part of a championship caliber football team. He wants to hit on all 3. Offense, defense, special teams, and that's exactly what you got to do. Kevin says, Scott Fitterer, the general manager, seems like the only one who truly knows what he is doing. People don't realize that is a great manager from the Seahawks. Facts. Most of the picks he got pretty dead on. Facts. So, Frank Reich, specify. We need to hit on all 3 sides. Special teams, offense, defense. Maybe this is an attitude of a perfectionist, but we need all 3 to hit heavy, which all 3 haven't done so in a long time. So we got to get started. Now, here's the interesting part. Who is going to call the plays on offense? Now, Frank Reich said that he's going to wait and see after they get the offensive staff together. Now, he also pointed out that as far as he says, and I quote, as far as calling plays, I'm going to wait to see what the offensive staff looks like, what we get together. I've always enjoyed doing that. Feel like I've had a good bit of success doing that and enjoy doing that. Feels to me there's a little bit of a trend going away from that. I want to re-examine that. It really depends on how the staff comes together and the coordinator. I'm excited about the prospects on some of the guys that are out there that could be our offensive coordinator. So he's going to wait to make that final decision. End quote. I mean, so he might end up calling plays or he might not. He seems to be very open to either or. If anything, he wants to get the right staff together to put everything in plan, in motion. And it seems like he has a list of names. I don't know what those names are, but I am under the impression that he came into this already with a list of names in mind. Now, it remains to be seen whether he gets them or not, but you got to give him credit for thinking ahead, planning, blueprint, thinking in advance. Kevin says, we need to consistently start scoring 30 points in games, need to play better football throwing the ball. And he actually touched on the throwing, the passing. So, as a matter of fact, the quarterback position, he talked about that. He says you've got to have stability at quarterback. The good thing that I've learned in my past experience here and the past experiences in the few years is we've learned how to adapt to different styles of quarterbacks, but that's not the ideal situation. We, Mr. Tepper, Mr. Fitterer, myself, have to commit to what's our blueprint. How we're going to maintain stability, make a plan, and then execute that plan. Translation, I think they're going to be very aggressive in getting their guy. I really think they're going to be aggressive in getting their guy. Tito Z, welcome to the stream. What's up, champ? I want no less than 9 wins next season, an NFC South win for me to feel good about this pick. Yeah, I mean, enough to make the playoffs, hopefully to win the division. Hopefully to win the division. Let's take it up a notch from a wild card. Let's win the division. Kevin says, did you see Tom Brady officially retire on the beach? I had to say that. To play it safe, let's wait until training camp begins. And if he's not on a team by training camp, then I'll truly believe he's retired. Just got to play it safe. I want a Super Bowl. Yes, we all do. Definitely we all do. But yeah, as far as Tom Brady retiring, I'll believe it when I see it. He might come back. He looks very sad, though. I mean, there's really no point in him coming back. I mean, if he does come back, that's on him, but there's really no point for him to come back. So some bullet points on offensive philosophies that Frank Reich talked about. And you know what? I think it makes a lot of sense what he said. This is what he said on his offensive philosophies. Check this out. And I quote, it's a passing league, but you have to run the ball to be a championship team. There's exceptions to that. When you look at the analytics and the statistics over the years. Now y'all heard, he just admitted this is a passing league. This is a passing league. He did say that. Continuing. You got to be effective running the football and efficient running the football. That's of the reasons I'm excited about this roster. I know we can do that. We'll get the pass game right. I know we can run the football, and we're going to run the football because that just builds off the play action, off the RPO stuff, all the movement stuff. That's what you want to build. What offensively you're always trying to do is to create conflict in the defender. Put a seed of doubt in the defender's mind. Is it a run? Is it a pass? Is it the RPO? Is it a first level RPO? Is it second? Are they going deep? Complement everything together. It starts with running the football. Then the second principle is you have to get the ball vertical down the field. Let me repeat that part. The second principle is you have to get the ball vertical down the field. You have to get chunk plays. All the statistics, all the analytics. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to work with Mr. Tepper, because if anybody who knows analytics is him and all of his businesses. He gets this as much as anybody. It's hard to go 14 play drives all the time. You got to get chunk plays down the field. We need to be able to run the ball, have play action, get it vertical, and have the kind of players and quarterback that can do that. I see nothing wrong with those statements. I see nothing wrong with those statements. I think he hits it on the button. Let's dissect this. Let's dissect this. Put a seed of doubt in the defender's mind. When have we really been able to do that? Our play calling, I feel like the last few seasons have been so predictable. But Frank Reich gets it. Put a seed of doubt in the defender's mind. Keep them always guessing. That's what we need, y'all. That's what we need. Kevin says, the bottom line, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning many games. It's just true. You need a good pitcher at baseball, you need a great goalie in hockey, and you need a great quarterback. We need to be unpredictable in our play calling, which we were only in 2003 and 2015. Yeah, that's what we have to get back to. And it's been a good long while, if at all, that's happened. If anything, Frank Reich gets it. You got to remember, legit last season, there were times where Steve Wilkes said it himself. If we don't need to pass, we don't have to pass the ball, then we won't. If we don't have to go deep, then we won't. Frank Reich gets it. He gets it. He gets it. And then, you know what else? You know what else stood out to me? Him taking accountability. Frank Reich taking accountability as he reflected on his time in Indianapolis and what came to the point of him getting fired. Kevin says, we need a tight end and better receivers. Moore is great, but still need that true 50-50 ball guy like a Jamar Chase. It would be good to get another dog at wide receiver. Not saying that Terrace Marshall can't become that, but he's probably going to need some more time to develop, being that had a struggle freshman year, but had a pretty decent sophomore year. So I think we could use another dog at wide receiver for sure. But let me read y'all this quote from Frank Reich on reflecting back to Indianapolis and him getting fired. He says, and I quote, I did. In some ways, if there was going to be a transition, it was a blessing in disguise. It really did. We were talking earlier with a group of people. In the NFL, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have successes and failures. We had 4 good years of good success. Then you go through 1 year where there's struggle. Now you have the chance to reflect on that, and it's like getting an app. I like to talk to the players like this. In apps, you get version 1, then version 2. I feel like this provides me with the opportunity to debug some things, make things better. Now come out with version 2 or version 3. It's better. It's cleaned up. The important thing, though, is that you're starting with a good product to start, which I know we are. Now we clean some things up. Like I said, staff, vision of the offense, complementary defense, high-level special teams play, all the areas that we're really going to focus on a team. Then how to stay true to the process. Manage expectations in a way, keep our team focused on the right things, keep challenging and pushing. Ultimately, it's got to come from the players. The head coach and the coaches can only do so much. The leadership has to come from the locker room. I got a role that I got to play. I'll do my best to play that role. Ultimately, that leadership has got to come from the players as well. That's the first part of it. That's the first part of it. Let me read these comments and I'll read the second part of that. Tito Z says, agreed. We also need another edge rusher, another linebacker, and corner. Facts. Kevin says, wait, and don't some teams have like 5 good receivers? Don't the Chiefs have like Hill, Hardman, Kelsey, and can't even think of the other ones? There's so many. We should have like 6 great receivers on the team for backup. Need many people on the field. Well, let's not get too crazy. After all, let's not forget about the lineup that we had when we last went to the Super Bowl. Execution is just as important as the talent. But we have gotten there before with some no names. So just had to point that out. Part 2 on what went wrong. He says, and I quote, in four years, it was established that the team was running the ball well. We were running the ball well like we're going to do here. Then as this year started out, the running game disappeared. Then we didn't get the ball vertically down the field a lot because of that, and we ended up having some breakdowns. Now, that's on me as the head coach. Let me repeat that. He said that is on. Now that's on me as the head coach. I've got to get that right. The responsibility starts with me. When we don't reach our goals, it's under my leadership. That's accountability. I screwed up. The failures of the running game disappearing, not being able to get the ball vertically downfield, that is on me. Let me ask y'all something. Have we heard any of this from Matt Rhule or even Steve Wilks? Before I continue, y'all refresh my memory. Yes, we need both. That was just a good team. Facts. Would Matt Rhule ever say that? Is Matt Rhule accountable? Yes, definitely. A little of Wilks, but he was much better than Rhule. I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it, Kevin. But I don't remember. I don't remember hearing anything like that from Mr. Wilks. But I'll take your word for it. You know, I'm getting up there in age. So I'll take your word for it. You know, I'll take your word for it. But that's accountability. That is accountability. Man of the people, because when we did bad, he did better the next game. Yeah, I mean that is a good point there. That is a good point there. After the Bengals lost, we came back. That is true. It wasn't like a crazy losing streak of any sort. Okay, second continuing with the second part. Frank Reich says that's why I have an opportunity to be here. Ultimately, I also feel I look back and I always feel like I've always had a good track record of the second half of the season as a head coach. If you go back and look at the record in the second half of the season, there's a little bit of side of me that says we've had a way as a staff of figuring it out. Even when you go over a few bumps, I think we're good at figuring things out. Injuries, things you have to get past, putting players in the best position, that's a lot of fun to do. I mean, yeah. And ultimately, when it comes to the whole Steve Wilks thing, I've said it once and I'll say it again. If we made the playoffs, we wouldn't even be at this point right now. If we had made the playoffs, none of this would even be a discussion. None of this would even be a discussion. Folks can say what they want about Steve Wilks and whether it was a jacked up move or not, or whatever's going to happen. But if we would have made the playoffs, none of this would even be a discussion. I'm just saying. Not to take away any of the positives, but if we would have made the playoffs, all this new coach and all that wouldn't even be a discussion. Kevin says, sorry to take Chris's line from Charlotte Vibe. Steve Wilks also said the fruits of our labor. Yeah, actually, I do remember hearing that. But let's see. Oh, yeah. Another part of the discussion. Five traits of greatness. Let's go through it. This was on what Frank Reich wants his identity with the Panthers to be. Kevin says Wilks was funny though. He was a good coach, but I think Frank Reich will do well. I don't know. I'm hoping he will. But here's the thing, Kevin. With Wilks, I hate to say it. Good coach in the same sentence as 9-19. I don't know. On paper, that doesn't look good. And that's in the record books. That's like saying I'm good at math, but I'm making D's. Kevin says, I find it hilarious that he coached Peyton Manning, which there's no way Manning learned anything from a bad quarterback in Reich. But maybe he did. Wait, what does that even mean? Wait, what does that even mean? Like, what? Good from a leadership standpoint and able to get the job done. He coached Manning, but Reich was a bad quarterback, and what tips would make Peyton great? Okay. He hadn't played the quarterback position in a long time. And not to mention, he did lead a couple of comebacks as a backup for the Bills. Frank Reich's not an elite quarterback, but to come back from at least a small handful, I don't know, that's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so what his identity with the Panthers? Okay, first he says this, and I quote: And, you also have to remember, Kevin, I mean, there are some that do better as coaches than as players. It happens. It happens. I mean, some do better as coaches. It's very possible. Happens a lot. Something to remember. He says, and I quote, his career stats were 40 touchdowns and 36 picks. Okay, that's him as a player. And he will go down in history as what gave us our first touchdown. First touchdown pass. Okay, Frank Reich says, and I quote, first with the players, I've just started to reach out via text to make sure they all had my number. That when I call and try to connect, that's good. Gotta contacts. Obviously, it's been 2 days. Like I said, that will be the highlight to get with these guys one-on-one, to get these guys together. Okay, 5 traits of great. What it takes to be a great player. Number 1, toughness. Mental and physical toughness, which, honestly, I think that's default. Got to have toughness. Very, very important. Number 2, accelerated vision. What does that mean? That means you see the game so fast in your brain and process information so quickly, the game is slow to you. Like, this is slow to you. This is easy. I know what they are doing. I know what that split means. I know what that stance means. I know what that backfield alignment means. I know what that release means. When you play with accelerated vision, you play faster than your time speed, and you are really good at situational football. Sounds like going into a room with a bunch of Luke Kuechly's or a bunch of Peyton Mannings, that like the audible all the time. That's what it reminds me of. That's terrible. Come on, you got to laugh at that. Being respectful at the same time as a coach and a family man, he has it down. What, at him being a quarterback? I mean, it's not like he played that many games for us anyway. So, I mean, then once it kind of shifted over to Kerry Collins and then Steve Berline, and then just it was all over the place. But I mean, he did a tiny bit of something. Did a tiny bit of something. That's all I can really say. Number 3, footwork. Football's played from the ground up. We want our team to be marked with good footwork. It's all about fundamentals and technique. When it's good on good, and that's what it is every week in the NFL. It's good on good. The players are good, and their players are good. So who's going to win? The guy with the best fundamentals. The guy with the best fundamentals. So we are going to be good fundamentally. That's going to be a mark of the team. Fundamentals. Kevin says, our quarterbacks have been god-awful in the past in every aspect. Why, I have no idea. It is hard to play football, but geez. I mean, you might be trolling, but there's kind of some truth to that. I mean, aside from Cam Newton and Jake Delhomme, I mean, you have a point. You look back, I mean, you kind of have a point. I mean, I really don't consider – I mean, I understand we had Kerry Collins when we first went to the playoffs, but when I think about great quarterbacks that have played for Carolina, Kerry Collins doesn't exactly roll off the tip of my tongue. I'm just saying. So, I mean, you're not totally wrong, Kevin. You're not totally wrong. Because, I mean, when you think about Carolina quarterbacks, other than Jake Delhomme and Cam Newton, who else has there really been? I mean, nobody doesn't really say anything about Kerry Collins or Steve Berline or Jeff Lewis or Vinny Testaverde or Rodney Peete or Chris Winkie. So, Drew Brees. And then when you think about it, Drew Brees, I mean, he did a little something. He did a little bit of something with the Chargers, but then he blew up in New Orleans. So I guess it was just a change of scenery for him. And, of course, change of coach that really helped. But that's how it be sometimes. Okay. So toughness, accelerated vision, footwork. Number 4, playmaking. Number 4 is going to be playmaker. You've got to be able to make plays in the clutch, on third down, in the red zone, in 2-minute drills, when a game is really on the line. That's not just the quarterback. That's not just the receivers. It's the left guard cutting off a nose tackle on an outside zone to the right. That's a playmaker. That's all across the board. I like the breakdown there. Really good breakdown. Why have we had so many quarterbacks? Well, it's a good question. I mean, you have to also remember, like we've tried with certain quarterbacks that have done well in college. I mean, Jimmy Clausen. I mean, Chris Winkie. Chris Winkie was a Heisman Trophy winner. But yet, that fell apart. At the end of the day, it's going to be hit or miss. We're going to find some gems, and we're going to find plates of dirt. It happens. I mean, Jamarcus Russell. Look what happened with that. RG3, promising. Look what happened to him. I mean, Jimmy Clausen, look what happened with them. Matt Moore did a little bit of something near the end of the season, but then came back, then he blew up. So, I mean, it's really going to be hit or miss. It's really going to be hit or miss. That's all I can really say. It's going to be hit or miss. But I mean, we've had some bad luck, but this is the chance to turn it around. Austin Judd, welcome to the stream. Hello. Do you think the Panthers and the Packers will play each other this season? Actually, they are. They're on the schedule. They will play the Packers at home. So, yes, Austin, they will be on the schedule. But our team is especially more than any other. I can't agree with that, Kevin. I can't agree with that only because other teams have been around a lot longer than us. I can't say that. Can't say that because the other teams have been around a lot longer than us. They've been around a lot longer. So I can't say that. I can't 100% agree with that. Because you have to also keep in mind, Kevin, at the end of the day, there are plenty of teams out there that have better players than us that are still not able to get that Super Bowl any more than we've been able to. I mean, Tony Romo, Dak Prescott. There's a handful. Might be better than us consistently, but haven't been able to either win the big dance or even get to the big dance. So we're not alone. We're definitely not alone. I mean, heck, the Chicago Bears went to the Super Bowl and they had Rex Grossman. How did that work out? Now, I'm sure we could figure out a ton of quarterbacks better than Rex Grossman. Number 5, X Factor. You got to have the X Factor. We want players who have that X Factor. What does that mean? Great leaders, great teammates. They love football. They love to practice. They love to grind. They love to meet up and strategize. That's what we want in the building. End quote. So, what were the 5 traits? Toughness, accelerated vision, footwork, playmaking, and X Factor. Austin Jug says, I'm a Packer fan, but I wish your team good luck. Appreciate it. Good luck to y'all as well. Hope y'all can hope y'all have a good off season. Have to see what y'all may do about Aaron Rodgers. Well, y'all still will have Aaron Rodgers, right? But should be good. Should be good. Y'all beat us the last time we played y'all. We played y'all at Lambeau Field last time, and y'all beat the brakes off of us. Oh, yeah, that's when we had Teddy Bridgewater. That's right. That was the last time y'all beat us, when we had Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah. So, we got to bounce back from that. Here's hoping. But, and then another thing I wanted to point out, he wants to collaborate as an organization, team, coaches, players. Want a degree of collaboration across the board. Now, the right people will have the final say so, but at the end of the day, wants collaborations. Very important. Let's see. I do appreciate just a lot of the points that Frank Reich hit on with this press conference. There's one thing that he did talk about is in regards to his comeback in Indianapolis to make the playoffs and how that will help him in this coming season. This was what he said, and I quote, "It's all about focusing one day at a time. A lot of teams use this. I know, even our team here. This was big this last year because it's true. It's got to be a 1-0 mentality. It's about 1% better. Get 1% better every day and be 1-0. Be 1-0 today. Win the day. I like to talk about, hey, guys, during the week, the way we practice, the way we meet, the way we prepare, we are going to put all that into a suitcase. That suitcase is only so big. It has a weight limit that you can take on the plane, or it is, a 50-pound limit when you pack it up and put it on the plane. You can only fit so much in there. But what happens is then when we get there on Sunday, we are going to pour that out there on the field. Our collective score preparation, all those things, how we did it. We're going to bring our suitcase and the opposing team is going to bring their suitcase. On Sunday, those things are going to be dumped out on the field. Whoever has the best suitcase is going to win. Then guess what? In the NFL, that suitcase is completely unpacked and then you pack it up the next week. That's the cycle of the NFL. Dang, that's a pretty neat analogy. Actually kind of like that analogy, to be honest with you. I like that analogy. But just some points from his press conference that I wanted to, look at. Like I said, the full article is in the description, so you can check out some things for yourself if you like. But you know what? I'm ready for him to get to work. Not only that, there's a handful of players that actually was in attendance. Like they had Jeremy Chin, they had Dante Jackson, they had Ike Ekwonu. They had a small number of players that were in attendance for his press conference. Oh, as a matter of fact, it was Taylor Moton, Jeremy Chin, Ikem Ekwonu, Brady Christensen, Marquise Haynes Sr., Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, they were in attendance. So, hey. And I'll go ahead and say this. Oh, let me read Austin's comment. Austin said, "We had a terrible season last year. It will be interesting to see what happens." Yeah, I feel you. I know the feeling. So, I'll say this, because there's been a lot of talk about, players quit on Matt Rhule, and when Steve Wilkes got to put the head coach helmet on, everybody wanted to play for Steve Wilkes. There was a lot of disappointed players that were rooting for Steve Wilkes. I'll just say this, and I know some people have mentioned this already, but I have to agree. If there's going to be a handful of players that don't want to play under Frank Reich, bye. Next man up. Like, that's negativity that we don't need. Doesn't matter how great or bad the coach is. If he's the coach, you play for your team. Just because it's not the person you originally wanted, that happens. You got to still do your job. And if there's going to be players that are not going to want to play under Frank Reich, get them out. If that means they got to take cap penalties or whatnot, so be it. it's not a good idea to have a bunch of players on the team that are not going to play for you because of one decision. It's not anybody breaking the law, but just a bunch of people all in their fields. And they don't have time for that. They don't have time for that. You know, I look at it as sort of similar to, hey, I ask a woman out. She says no. She says no, maybe for all the wrong reasons. She won't give me a chance or anything like that. And I know I'm a good person. I move on. Get to where there's somebody that wants me. It's that simple. It's that simple. And the fact of the matter is, Frank Reich is the guy. He got hired. You know, Steve Wilkes, I appreciate what he's been able to do. And, you know, he's going to be interviewing, I believe, with the Niners to become their defensive coordinator, perhaps. I hope he can find work ASAP. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lose sleep because he wasn't retained. And I don't think anybody else should. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And if there's going to be folks all up in their fields and that translates to them not wanting to play, then they need to leave. They need to leave. They need to leave. Now, the so-called Matt Rhule lawsuit. So let's take a look at this. So Matt Rhule, former Carolina Panther coach Matt Rhule, has filed an arbitration lawsuit against the team seeking about $5 million in offset severance compensation. Honestly, only thing I can say to this is, you know what, Mr. Tepper, just go ahead and pay him. Go ahead and get rid of that distraction. Just $5 million there. Now go home. Go to Nebraska. Just give him his $5 million, and just send him on his way to Nebraska, where you can get back to coaching in college, and just get rid of that distraction. Just get rid of that distraction. Like, you got to be focused on the off season, trying to build this team and staff and all of the above. You don't need distractions. So just pay him the $5 million, let him be on his way, get back to what's important. Because right now, I'm sorry, but Matt Rhule is not important. He's not with us anymore. He didn't get the job done when he was with us. Matt Rhule is not important anymore. Yeah, whatever this supposed lawsuit, just pay him the $5 million. Just get him out of there, nip that in the bud, get back to what's important. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. So yeah, I hope they settle that instantly, because I don't think it's important. I don't think it's important. Now, when it comes to the coaching staff, so great news. We know for sure that offensive line coach James Campen and special teams coordinator Chris Tabor will be retained. That's great news, y'all. Chris Tabor on special teams did great this year with special teams. James Campen helped coach up this impressive offensive line, while has taken some bumps and bruises and injuries right at the end. I think can still be a strong and evolve into a top 10 offensive line if they're not there already. I don't think they're quite there, but they're close. They're very, very close. A lot closer than they've been in a couple of years. But retaining those coaches, 2 thumbs up. I like it. I like it. So Chris Tabor and James Campen will be staying on the coaching staff. So I like the moves. And we're going to be getting another coach in the form of former Detroit Lions assistant head coach / running backs coach, former NFL running back Duce Staley is joining the offensive staff. Now, of course, worked under Ben Johnson with the Lions recently. Here's the thing. We don't know exactly what he'll be doing. We don't know what he'll be doing, but we know that he's going to be on the coaching staff for the offensive side of the ball for the Carolina Panthers. Has a Super Bowl championship, not only as a player, but also as a coach. Because remember, he did play for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And of course, let's remember, he has a second Super Bowl as a coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, like I said, we don't know exactly what he's going to be doing, but I think he's going to be added into possibly, offensive coordinator, possibly running backs coach. I mean, he was assistant head coach, running backs coach. He also has experience as special teams quality control coach. Was a big name on the Philadelphia Eagles, won a Super Bowl as a coach with the Philadelphia Eagles, won a Super Bowl as a player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Has quite a resume. Hey, speaking of which, my brother is on the line. Universal Chicklets. Duce. Yep. I figured you were going to pop up. What's up? Y'all going to get it done? Super Bowl? Y'all going to get it done? The Chiefs. 2 black quarterbacks dueling it out in the Super Bowl. Y'all going to get it done or what? Because if y'all don't win, I'm going to laugh at you. Y'all don't win, I'm going to laugh at you. Y'all have one of the best records in the league. Y'all don't win, I'm going to laugh at you. But can y'all believe it? Both 14-3 teams dueling it out in the Super Bowl. Both number 1 seeded teams. It's incredible. Could be a very, very close Super Bowl game. Both number 1 seeds going at it. But looking forward to see what Duce Staley brings to the Carolina Panthers. The Detroit Lions had some success in the offense near the end of the season, winning 8 out of their final 10 games. So I'm really hoping that Duce Staley, will be a positive addition to this coaching staff. Also, I remember seeing word that I believe Al Holcomb is being interviewed elsewhere. We know Steve Wilkes is being interviewed elsewhere. I didn't hear anything about Ben McAdoo, but I'm pretty sure Ben McAdoo is going to go bye-bye. That's what I'm thinking. Which I would not be against, because Ben McAdoo was doo-doo. Oh, man. That he was. Now, there's also another thing that I wanted to point out. Breaking news. The Chicago Bears are rolling with Justin Fields as their franchise quarterback. And they will be looking to try to trade their first overall pick. We might need to really be in on that, ladies and gentlemen. They are willing to trade their first overall pick. They're going to try to. They're going to be listening to offers. We need to be in on that. We need to be in on that, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the thing. Hold on, let's look at the order. With that being said, okay, got the Tankathon pulled up, looking at the full order. So we know for sure, we at least know for sure, the Chicago Bears will not take a quarterback. They got their guy in Justin Fields. They're rolling with Justin Fields. That's their decision. Okay. I believe the Texans will most definitely get a quarterback. The Cardinals, no. The Colts, I could see getting a quarterback. Seattle could go either way, unless they want to go another year or two with Geno Smith. Geno Smith is only, I believe, 31. Let me check just to be sure. 32. Geno Smith is 32. So they could possibly consider drafting a quarterback. The Lions, I don't see drafting a quarterback. The Raiders, I most definitely believe will be in the running for a quarterback. And the Falcons, nah, they got Ritter. So, to be honest, y'all, I think the only chance, let me put it to you this way. If they try to trade up, if they want their quarterback for sure without anything getting in the way, then they're going to need to try to get that first round, that number one pick. They're going to have to try to entice Chicago to give up that first overall pick to Carolina, who picks number 9. And word is that it may possibly have to take giving up our first round pick and potentially a first-round pick for the following year, 2024, and maybe a second and a third. Now, this is if they really want to go aggressive as possible. Now, if they want to be in running for a quarterback of, whoever's listed, then maybe trade up to number 3. Maybe trade up to number 3 and get the Cardinals pick. But my thing is, I am pretty sure the Texans are going to draft a quarterback. For sure. And with them having the number 2 pick, they're going to have free reign. Now, the other thing is bridge. Are they going to do something about a bridge quarterback? Or are they going to just draft the quarterback and just develop said quarterback and also Matt Corral and have those two compete? That could be where we decide to go. It could just be one of those, let's evolve them both, let them compete, and then go from there. Because this is an important position, but it's not the only position we need to capitalize on. We need that, need D-line, need linebacker. Tight end would be nice, safety, but definitely D-line as well. Edge. We'll have to see what happens with Brian Burns, which I do think that Brian Burns will stay or, will get re-signed, but it's really going to depend. It's really going to depend how they decide to go about this. Now, according to this article on Cat Crave, there's apparently 6 moves that the Panthers can make to save $50 million against the salary cap for this year. 6 moves that can be made. You have cut linebacker Damian Wilson, which would save $3.61 million. Restructure Taylor Moton's contract, which could save $11.14 million. Okay. Cut Pat Elflein, offensive lineman / center, Pat Elflein, which would save $4.26 million. Restructure wide receiver DJ Moore's contract, which could save about $12.72 million. And lastly, either cut or trade linebacker Shaq Thompson, which could save about $13.16 million. Thoughts on that? One more time. Cut Damian Wilson, which saves $3.61 million. Restructure Taylor Moton, which could save $11.14 million. Cut Pat Elflein, which would save $4.26 million. Restructure DJ Moore, which would save $12.72 million. And either cut or trade Shaq Thompson, which would save $13.16 million. Oh, there's one more. That's only 5. I said 6. I'm sorry. So number 6 would be restructure offensive lineman Austin Corbett, which could save $5.94 million. So Austin Corbett, restructure, save $5.94 million. Those are the 6 moves that they could do to save $50 million against their cap for this year. Joe Valesco, welcome to the stream. The GOAT retired. Let's wait until training camp begins. If he's not on a team by then we'll know he's retired. Because he did the exact same thing last year, and we saw what happened. That didn't last. I'll believe it when I see that he's really retired. I don't believe it yet. So I'm going to play it safe. Wait until training camp. If he's still playing or if he's not on a team by that time, then I'll believe he's retired. Kevin says, but this was in a video and it sounded sincere. This was the same dude that promised his wife that he was done after they won the Super Bowl. They're divorced now. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Dude broke a promise. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm just saying. And then there's another he said it was for sure, and he looked sad at the end. He was almost crying to it from the past memories. That's fine. But I'll believe it when I see it. That's cool and all, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'll wait until the next season begins. But if that ends up being true, the quarterback situation is going to be very, very interesting in the NFC South. Because when you think about it, if Tom Brady is indeed retired, who do the Bucs have? Kyle Trask. The Saints, which I believe they still have Jameis Winston. Kevin says he actually already got the job for Fox reporting on sports. So he won't be back. He's becoming a sports analyst. That's fine. That's fine. I'll believe it when I see it, but that's fine. Good for him. Hooray. But I'll believe it when I see it. Falcons have Desmond Ridder. Of course, we have Jacob Eason and Matt Corral. You like Tom Brady, right? Please. That's like asking if I like to eat dirt. Joe Valesco says, is your brother happy because the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl? Oh, my brother's an Eagles fan. Joe Valesco, you remember that video that I did the season before last after the Panthers-Eagles game that I attended? Me, him, and my nephew, his son, attended that game, and I went live after the game. That was my brother. But yeah, he's an Eagles fan. He's been an Eagles fan since day one. Found him on the beach. I really thought he was going to go to another Super Bowl. What? Ew. Do you like the Eagles? Not really. Not really. Do I like the Eagles? Not really. I mean, I respect them, but do I like them? Not really. I remember your first video of the Xbox unboxing. First video ever on YouTube, or like the first video where you first saw my channel? I remember that. I remember that. It took me forever to get that. Yeah, Joe Valesco, that video. That video. People said he was on the east coast of Florida. He was in Miami filming the video. Yeah, well, he can stay doing that and do his thing. Oh, that video. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was good. That was good. That was definitely good. Hadn't played much of it these days because I feel like everything out there is on a PS5. There's hardly no Xbox exclusives these days. So, it was like wait, 8 years ago. Okay, I might have to look back at that. I thought you were maybe talking about the well, dang, now I might have to go back through my videos. 6 years ago. Huh. I might have to go back through that. Fair enough. But yeah, this quarterback situation is going to be key in the NFC South. And you know what? I'm definitely under the impression that this organization is going to go hard for their quarterback. Even Scott Fitterer himself said it best. If there's somebody that convicts you to go after, you go after him. Scotty Fitty said it himself. If there's somebody that that convicts you to go after, you go get them. So I don't know what they feel, but they got to do it. Jeff R., welcome to the stream. Let's go, CJ Stroud. Let me ask you this, Jeff R. So, I'm sure you've heard the Chicago Bears are sticking with Justin Fields as their franchise quarterback, and they are open to trading their first overall pick. With that being the case, and if Carolina wants 100% chance of them getting exactly who they want, they may have to take that first round pick. Maybe they have to take our first round pick for next year. Well, you've been on YouTube for 12 years. Wow, nice job with the commitment. I appreciate it. I've been enjoying it. Definitely been enjoying it. A lot of ups, a couple of downs here and there, but it's been fun. But I really think they may actually consider going hard to get that number one overall pick to for sure get their guy. Joe Valesco says, no, don't trade up for the number one pick. Dude, I'm telling you, if they want any chance to get their guy, that's something they need to consider. Joe Valesco, there are way too many teams between the first pick and the 8th pick that need a quarterback. At least 1, 2, 3, and a possible 4. you can't be surprised if they want to go aggressive and try to get that number 1 pick, or at least move to the number 3. But if they want their guy for sure, they need to be aggressive. Jeff R. says, we need to go all out. We are a quarterback away from being contenders, especially since the NFC South is so weak now. The time to strike is now. Yeah. And with Chicago literally saying that the first round pick, they are not getting a cornerback and they're open to trading their pick, Carolina is most likely going to consider going hard so they can get exactly who they want. Kevin says CJ Stroud will be good, I can tell. They got pass him up, but won't happen. They can pass him up, but won't happen. Or number 2. And that's the thing. With the Texans having the number 2 pick, we all know for sure they are getting a quarterback. I think that's the one of the picks that I think everybody in the NFL can say the Texans are getting a quarterback, hands down. And not saying that it's impossible to get CJ Stroud with like the 3rd or 4th pick, but we don't trade up. They could take him. I don't know how people feel about Bryce Young. I'm not saying that I'm not open to him, but there's a lot of people pointing fingers at CJ Stroud. And one of the things that a lot of people are saying is because CJ Stroud is the bigger guy. But like I said, we know for sure Texans are getting a quarterback. Colts, I believe, are getting a quarterback. The Raiders, definitely I could see them making a play for quarterback. And they're 2 spots above us. So we better draft him, then we will be good. The question is, will he want to come to Carolina? I mean, if he gets drafted, I mean, what's he going to do? Well, he may not know what we're all about, right? Players find out fast that Carolina is not their home for the most part. I mean, we're not the only struggling team out there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a reason why the lower ranking teams get the first pick. I mean, there's that. But and there's even folks talking about Derek Carr. No. I'm tired of all these veteran quarterbacks that we keep bringing in. It's not working. It's not working. We need to develop a quarterback. Kevin says, that's true. How did the Chiefs get Mahomes? Just draft magic? I mean, they took advantage. They definitely took advantage, and it turned out good for them. I will give them that. It turned out really good for them. It was surprising. I actually like, Kevin says, I actually like Carr, but not as good as he used to be. Stafford and Carr were better when they were young. Well, I mean, Stafford not too long ago won a Super Bowl, but, definitely was a beast with the Lions. And Derek Carr, I mean, 4-time Pro Bowler. So he's done a little something, but But yeah, it just hasn't able to really make it to the big dance. Now, let me ask y'all this. Do you think they should get a bridge quarterback? Now, a lot of folks were talking Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett. I've been hearing Jacoby Brissett's name. But how do y'all feel about a bridge quarterback? Because either that or they could just go from fresh, draft a quarterback, let that quarterback and Matt Corral compete, and we just roll with it. He's a nice guy, but cries a lot. Felt bad for him that one press conference. He bawled his eyes out. He was so frustrated. I mean, can't really blame him. Joe Valesco says yes. Joe Valesco, what bridge quarterback would you like? Kevin says no. I just want a franchise quarterback that is legendary from day one. Well, we about to find out. See how this draft goes. But like I said, the coaching staff, is shaping up. We're keeping Chris Tabor. We're keeping James Campen. We're bringing in Duce, Staley, and Frank Reich is our head coach. We gotta. There's more work to be done. Like I said, I don't think McAdoo's going to be there. Al Holcomb's interviewing elsewhere. Steve Wilkes is interviewing elsewhere. So I think one thing that it'll really be interesting to see is who's going to call the plays, because Frank Reich could call the plays, but he's waiting to see how this offensive coaching staff shapes up. So still kind of unknown how that's going to be. Joe Valesco says, Derek Carr, he was my second option. Who was your first option? Jeff R. says, we have a quarterback coach now. We don't need a bridge quarterback. Frank Reich will groom him. That was the whole point for hiring Frank Reich. Yeah. I mean, we got to remember, head coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, multitask. So Jeff R. makes a good point. Kevin says the offensive line scares me a little with the injuries. ACL is a bad injury. Well, it happened right at the end. So, I mean, got the whole offseason to heal up and rehab, and the surgeries have been done. They just got to go through the rehab and just get back to the action. We just have to trust the process and the healing. Joe Valesco says the GOAT. You honestly couldn't have thought we were going to land him. Come on now. You can't possibly think we were going to land him. Kevin says Frank Reich should definitely call the plays. You can't trust any offensive coordinator these days. I swear Brady called the plays on the Patriots. He's got a fair argument there. He's got a fair argument. He's a little Billy Goat. Well, he's a dirty Billy Goat, but I give you that. I like goats. Well, you can have them. You can have them. But yeah, Jeff R makes a good point. We might just end up getting our guy in the draft. A whole bunch of goats. Getting our guy in the draft, have him and Matt Corral compete. Vietnam, welcome to the stream. What's up? What's up? But yeah, we gotta definitely off to a decent start. But we gotta really, if we want our guy, we got to make some moves to get our guy. We got to make some moves to get our guy. Tom Brady should actually buy a pet goat and name him Brady. Oh, Lord. Or Gronkowski. That would be funny. A goat named Gronkowski. But only he would do such a thing. I'm happy to have an offensive head coach. We got him, Vietnam. We got him. And he was saying a lot of the right things in his press conference. We just have to see if he applies it. But I like where he's coming from. I like that he took some accountability for the mistakes at Indianapolis. He has a vision. He wants to run the ball. He specified this is a passing league and that we have to get the ball vertical. It's a must. He gets it. He wants a top 5 defense. He gets it. We didn't have a top 5 defense. He wants a top 5 defense. So let's see. Frank Reich definitely seems more logical and focused on winning. Agreed. Joe Velasco says, I cannot believe the Panthers did not get Hassan Reddick back. Oh, man. Yeah, we're suffering badly for that, too. Kevin says, Reich led the offense, 31st offense last year. That is a problem he needs to fix this year. Facts. And unfortunately, Jeff Saturday did not do any better. Oh, man. Phanom says, I just don't want us to give the world to move up and expect our other holes to magically close. Well, Phanom, I definitely feel you there, but I don't know, man. We've tried all sorts of different things before, and it hasn't worked out for us. I mean, these veteran projects haven't worked out. I don't know, man. I think in order for them to really get the guy that they want, especially, talking quarterback here, in order for them to get the guy they want without any sort of feasible opposition, they're going to have to take some risks. Hate to say it. It's going to have to take some risks. I don't know exactly what those look like on paper, but going in for that number 1 pick that the Bears are willing to shop might be what they have to do. Kevin says, the thing about coaches is less talk, more do, and that is what I want from him. You hear how many words Belichick says in his, like 5 words max. We are constantly fixing holes in our team and never get a stable quarterback. It's getting really old. Agreed. I definitely agree. For sure. So, and we haven't drafted anybody worthwhile in that department since Cam Newton. So, what do you think about Lovie Smith be the Panthers defensive coordinator? Not really exactly who I had in mind, Joe Valesco, to be honest with you. Not really who I had in mind. But, I mean, maybe. But not really who I had in mind. Fandom says if they go give up those picks to move up, then the fan base shouldn't cry when other areas of the team suffer and we can't fix it. Well, to be fair, one of the things that we've complained about for so long, offensive line. And what did they do? The next thing on the list has been quarterback. So, I mean, at the same time, you have to also understand the reason why this has been a complaint for so long, just like the offensive line was. So, I mean, and it's like I said, Vietnam, regardless of the direction that they go, it's going to be a risk anyway. It's going to be a risk anyway. Nothing's guaranteed to work. The only thing we can do is attempt to make the best decisions that could give us the best chance and hope they work out. Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. That's really all you can do with anything. You know, that's all you really can do. Because at the same time, you know, even with the cap situation right now, there's going to have to be some hard decisions to make. You know, there may be a few easy decisions in the mix, but a barrage of hard decisions to make. You know, at the end of the day, there's a reason why we are fans and not in the organization. Joe Valesco says, what do you think about BYU quarterback? I don't even know his name off the top of my head. Let me see what his name is, because I don't know his name off the top of my head. Somebody know the TCU quarterback? cannot think of his name, and it's bugging my mind. Crap. I can't think. I cannot think. TCU. Oh, you said BYU. Wait, BYU? Or do you mean TCU? Duggins. Oh, thank you, Jeff R. Thank you, Jeff R. I mean, I don't really know that much about him. Let's find out. Let's see. TCU. Horned Frogs. Oh, Max Duggan, Senior. Max Duggan. 3,698 yards passing, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 78.2 QBR, 6'2", 210 pounds. Dang. Oh, okay. Had a heck of a 2022 season. Nice. Sounds like dude has one heck of an arm, too. All right. Right on. Right on. Zach, welcome to the stream. As a Panthers fan, I'm happy to have Duce Staley here. Thanks for letting the man move closer to his mom. Oh, yeah, that is true. I believe his mom lives in South Carolina. So, yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Jeff R. says, what do y'all think about the University of Georgia quarterback? He's not getting much buzz at all. Oh, Jeff R., did you hear? Did you hear about that? Stetson Bennett, he got arrested. You didn't hear about that? Yeah, for public intoxication. So I don't know how much that's going to affect, but yeah. I mean, I don't think it will, but yeah. I actually saw the video. I saw the video about it. Bro, he tried to make a run for it during the sobriety test, and dude like got speared into the side of a low wall. Like, man, I know that had to hurt his rib cage, because I mean he got speared like Roman Reigns by the police. I was just like, oh man, goodness gracious. But yeah, he got arrested, unfortunately. Wasn't a good look. Wasn't a good look at all. But statistic-wise, I mean, it's a champion. Little on the short side, 5'11", 190 pounds, but QBR 87.8. That's a big deal. 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, over 4,127 yards passing. Dude is great. Dude is great, though. BYU quarterback Jaren Hall. Junior. Okay. He declared for the draft. Okay. Jaren Hall, 6'1", 205 pounds. 3,171 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a QBR of 79.3. Ooh, not bad. Not bad. bad. But, you know who's really catching my eye? Andre Carter. Oh yeah? You talking about the edge rusher from Army, Joe Valesco? Because I've been hearing some things about him. Tackling machine. Okay, so about the draft, let me ask y'all something. How high up would y'all be willing to trade to take a chance to get the quarterback that you want? How high up are you willing to trade? Let me get y'all's thoughts on that. Joe Valesco says 4. So with the Indianapolis Colts, okay. Vietnam says 3. So with 3 or 4, Jeff R says 1. Jeff R's like 1. Right on. 4, 3, 1. 1. So the thing with 4 or 3, okay, so number 4 is the Colts, number 3 is Arizona. Even between either of those two, Texans are still going to get first dibs, y'all. Texans are going to get first dibs. Now, the Tankathon has the Texans going Bryce Young and the Colts CJ Stroud, but because the Texans are the number 2 pick, they get first dibs. But if we were to get number 1, we would have first dibs. So, just something to think about. Now, okay, Joe Valesco, Vietnam. Okay, at those positions, who would you go for? Like, are y'all hopeful for CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis? Is there a particular quarterback y'all are hopeful for? Well, I already know Jeff R wants CJ Stroud. Joe Valesco, Vietnam. What about y'all? Joe Valesco says, what are your thoughts about Sean Payton joining the Broncos? No comment. No comment. I mean, we don't even play them next season. We don't even play them next season. So no comment. Joe Valesco wants Will Levis. Okay. Any particular reason you want Will Levis? What is it about Will Levis that sticks out to you? Because let's also keep in mind that we got the combine coming up. Jeff R says Peyton to the Broncos is significant because now Saints can trade up for a quarterback, draft compensation for us, SMH, which is true. Let me see, where are the Saints at? Okay, they are. So first round at number 30 in the first round. Which I believe is wait, Jeff R, can you break that down a little bit? I'm failing to see how that lines up. Can you break it down just a little bit more? Vietnam says, I think we should stay at the ninth pick and pick the best player available. If we get a good deal on Stroud, then I would pull the trigger on it. Okay. Now here's the thing with Vietnam's idea, which can still happen. Still can happen. Now, they could totally consider Anthony Richardson, because I know that name has been mentioned quite a bit, and there's a lot of talk about the possibility of Anthony Richardson falling to the second round. The only thing that I find it hard for that to happen is because, okay, couple of teams in this first round. So if I go down the list, the teams I could see going that would want to go for a quarterback: Texans at number 2, Texans, Colts, possibly the Seahawks, the Raiders, maybe the Jets. Maybe the Jets, but probably not. Maybe the Packers for their future. The Commanders, nah. I mean, they got Sam Howell, so nah. And Jeff R makes a point. I mean, the Saints could make a push to trade up. I mean, I'm sure Jameis Winston's not who they thought of, and Andy Dalton, he's a free agent now. So I mean, there's a small handful of teams that could go quarterback in this first round, even at their positions. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Joe Valesco says, great arm talent, great mobility. He could be the white Cam Newton. Oh, about Will Levis? Well, here's the thing with Will Levis, though, Joe Valesco. He's kind of dealt with some injuries. He's kind of dealt with some injuries. He's got some injury history. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Because, like I said, I can't say that I fully have a preference. But if they really want to go for C.J. Stroud, they're going to have to risk. C.J. Stroud seems to be the name that everybody's flashing. And if that's who they want, they're gonna have to risk. They're gonna have to make some risk. Jeff R says Saints are getting their ducks in a row so they can make a run for a high draft pick. This makes us have to give up more in order to move up. They're going to make a push. It won't be easy for us. Now, if Wilkes does go to a different team, is that a compensation draft pick that we get from that, or no? Or am I just way out of left field? Don't we get some sort of compensation if Wilkes gets picked up by a different team? I'm probably totally wrong. Oh, that is the case. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you for confirmation. Okay. Gotcha. Vietnam says if any player is close to being the next Cam, it's AR-15. So AR-15, Anthony Richardson. The word that I've been hearing is that Anthony Richardson, out of all of those quarterbacks, has the highest ceiling. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about that, but the word is that he has the highest ceiling. Now, here's the thing. That could also mean he sits for 1 year. Now, I don't know if y'all are willing to deal with that, but that might have to happen because many say that he's not quite ready yet, but has the highest ceiling. David Screws, welcome to the stream. I think they are trading for Stroud the way Fitterer is acting. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed with Scotty Fitt. He said it himself. If you feel that conviction to go after somebody, do it. And that could mean CJ Stroud and doing whatever is necessary to get him. But you know something? I think we're going to see some more things develop as soon as this Super Bowl comes to a conclusion. I think as soon as that comes to a conclusion, we're going to see some more stuff unfold. And it's like I said with the whole Matt Rhule lawsuit, just David Tepper, just go ahead and give him his $5 million, get rid of that distraction. Don't feed into a whole lot of going back and forth. Just feed him his $5 million, send him on his way to Nebraska. Because that's a distraction we don't need. Players that don't want to play for Frank Reich, they need to go as well. David Screw says, remember, Fitz said it was going to be a sexy draft. He did say that. He did indeed say that. For those that just came in, check this out. I want to go over this article again. Cat Crave. 6 moves that can save the Panthers $50 million against their 2023 cap. Check this out, y'all, for those that just came in. So, number 1, cut linebacker Damian Wilson, which would save $3.61 million. Restructure offensive tackle Taylor Moton's contract, which could save $11.14 million. Cut center Pat Elflein, which would save $4.26 million. Restructure wide receiver DJ Moore's contract, which could save $12.72 million. Either cut or trade linebacker Shaq Thompson, which could save $13.16 million. And finally, restructure offensive lineman Austin Corbett, which could save $5.94 million. Those 6 moves to help save the Panthers $50 million against their 2023 cap. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Joe Velasco says, guys, I'm going to say this. Don't get mad at me. The only reason I want to trade up is for Will Anderson Jr. or Jalen Carter. I mean, Would be nice, but Joe Velasco, what do you consider the top priority? What do you consider the top priority? That's really what it comes down to. Fadnov says, everything that I've seen so far says it's Stroud or Levis. Only Mel Kiper thinks that we are going to draft Anthony Richardson, which will be a project. David Screw says, no Will Levis. Please no. So we know David, he does not want Will Levis. Fadnov says, if we could get either one of those, then I wouldn't be mad at all. If we got Carter or Anderson, our defense would be set. And then we also got to see what they do with Brian Burns. Like, you know, that's still on the table as well. We got to see what they do with him. And David says, man, Duce Staley signing today got me hyped. He worked with Wright during the Super Bowl run. This is true. Yep. Super Bowl champion as a player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Super Bowl champion as a coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a good resume. Van Dam says, then I'll let Corral play and see where that gets us. And let's all remember that Wilson was a 3rd pick and the GOAT was a 6th pick. All facts. All facts. But the expected salary cap is $224.8 million. Right now, the Carolina Panthers have $8.7 million in cap space and $14.2 million in effective cap space. So the $14.2 million is the amount of money the team truly has available to spend. Right now, the biggest listing cap hits for the Carolina Panthers are DJ Moore at $25 million, Taylor Moton at $24.5 million, Shaq Thompson at $24.4 million, Brian Burns at $16.1 million, Dante Jackson at $13.5 million, Austin Corbett at $10.9 million, Derek Brown at $7.5 million, Pat Elflein at $7 million, Ian Thomas at $6.7 million, Ikemi Kwanu at $6.2 million. So those are the big cap hits. Those are the big cap hits, with DJ Moore being the biggest. He's the biggest. David says, I believe Reich is going to build a championship staff. I truly believe this. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Fayettenam says, if you restructure Shaq's contract and DJ Moore's contract, we will save at least $20 million. Yeah, so restructure DJ Moore could save $12.72 million. For Shaq, about $13.16 million. Yeah, you're pretty much right, Fayettenam. Yeah, you're right. Elflein and Thomas should be gone. Elflein, I think, will be gone. Thomas, while he is overpaid, unless they plan on getting a tight end in the draft, because at the same time, a lot of folks aren't too happy with Tommy Tremble. A lot of folks aren't too happy with Tommy Tremble and his production. So, I mean, while Tommy Tremble is the younger, but it is true. Ian Thomas is pretty overpaid. He's pretty overpaid. Joe Valesco says, what happened to Tyler Van Dyke? I thought he was the number 3 quarterback coming into the draft. Tyler Van Dyke? According to the Tankathon, the top quarterbacks they have on here are Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Tanner McKee, Hendon Hooker, and Jaron Hall. So Tyler Van Dyke of the Miami Hurricanes. I don't know, Joe Valesco. I mean, 1,844 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 52.9 QBR. And as a sophomore, I don't know about that. He's listed as questionable. Last had an upper body injury. Yeah, I don't know about that. David says, what concerns me are some players going to dip because Wilkes didn't get hired. And they can go. They can go. They can say bye-bye. If that's how they're going to be, bye. Vietnam says Trimble at least caught the ball when they targeted him. Well, here's the thing. They both didn't get a lot of catches. They were used mainly in the run. But both definitely didn't get a lot of catches. So, if anything, they were used a whole lot more in the run than anything else, especially the passing game. I mean, I think Tommy Trimble got in the end zone a few times. I think maybe Ian Thomas got in the end zone once. Trimble, 19 catches, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay, so he got in the end zone 3 times. Ian Thomas, 21 catches, 197 yards, no touchdowns. So Ian Thomas never got in the end zone, but I mean, they both had a similar number of catches. I mean, Trimble had 19, Ian had 21. So I mean, like I said, if anything, they were used in the run game a lot more than in the passing game, that's for sure. Especially when Mr. Coach McAdoodoo said, "Oh, I like using tight ends. I like using tight ends. I like tight ends." Yeah. David says, Frank Reich said himself he wants a productive tight end. Well, we haven't really had a productive tight end since Greg Olsen, so Tommy Trimble, it might have to be you. Might have to be you. Joe Valesco says, what if the Panthers draft a quarterback next year? Whoa. Dude, we haven't even gotten to this year's draft, and you're already talking about 2024 draft? Slow down. We haven't even gotten to this draft. I'm very curious to see how more things unfold after this Super Bowl. Definitely going to be keeping an eye out after the Super Bowl. Sexy draft means we get our franchise quarterback. I believe it. I definitely believe it. Oh, man. There's a Twitter, Overtime Carolina Panthers, at Overtime Panther. Everyone keeps talking about bringing a former player onto the staff. Hire the real Carolina Panthers GOAT, Steve Smith. We need that fire he brought to the Panthers. Frank Reich, make it happen. Would y'all like to see Steve Smith Sr., Agent 89, join the Carolina Panthers coaching staff? Shoot, don't tease me like that. Oh, man. I ain't gonna lie. If Steve Smith got to the head coach, got to the coaching staff, I'd probably mark out like crazy. David says hire Luke as defensive coordinator. Now that's definitely somebody that deserves to be on the coaching staff, like anything defense related, period. Shoot. I'd love it as Steve Smith as offensive coordinator. I don't know. I think I would start him off as wide receivers coach. Offensive coordinator, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe wide receiver coach, but offensive coordinator. Well, I mean, working with Frank Reich. Well, I mean, quarterback wide receiver relationship, I guess. I mean, it would be a quarterback wide receiver relationship. He's very smart, though. He is. Definitely right about that. I mean, I don't know if I could picture Steve Smith calling plays, but he would bring some sort of fire to the offense. That's for sure. He would definitely bring a fire to the offense, hands down. As passionate as this dude is, that has always played with a chip on his shoulder, being a short wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, he was one of the best to do it. At 5'9", one of the best to do it, if not the best to do it. He knows football. Facts. Another article I wanna fancy y'all with. It's another cat crave. 7 free agents the Carolina Panthers must aggressively pursue in 2023. Check this out. 1, cornerback Jamil Dean, who played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2nd, safety Jesse Bates, who played with the Cincinnati Bengals. Jesse Bates III, that is. 3, tight end Mike Gesicki, who played with the Dolphins. 4, linebacker from Dallas, Leighton Vander Esch. Number 5, wide receiver from Kansas City, Mecole Hardman. And number 6, quarterback played with Cleveland, Jacoby Brissett. And then number 7, defensive end from the Titans, DeMarcus Walker. Those are the 7 free agents. Gesicki might not be a bad idea, but it will depend on how much he'd cost. It would depend on how much he'd cost. Joe Velasco says, how about Greg Olson, Steve Smith, and Luke Kuechly, all cultures for the Panthers? In a perfect world, shoot, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. Mr. Reliable, Agent 89. I mean, Captain America. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Would be nice. David says, no more quarterbacks in free agency, please. We've been down this road. Dozens of times we've been down this road. So I will have to agree with David on that. I mean, the return of Cam didn't work. Sam Darnold didn't work. Teddy Bridgewater didn't work. Kyle Allen didn't work. So, I mean, yeah. PJ Walker didn't work. I mean, yeah, it's definitely time to change it up at quarterback, but develop a quarterback. Develop him. Develop him. Joe Velasco says Kyle Allen only started because Cam Newton was injured. Still, it still counts. That's why there's next man up. Still counts. Because you can say the same thing for PJ Walker as well. We have wasted draft picks on free agent quarterbacks, and it's sickening. Facts. And that's been one of the big issues. It's been one of the big issues. To be honest with you, the two main folks that I think Carolina severely regrets letting go, Hassan Reddick, Stephon Gilmore. I know for me personally, I regret us letting go of Hassan Reddick and Stephon Gilmore. Especially when Stephon Gilmore is from South Carolina and wanted to stay. Dude came in and made an immediate impact. Oh, by the way, it is a Super Bowl champion as well. Multiple-time Pro Bowler, too. But we got to move on from that, though. Got to move on from that. I know it hurts, but yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of this offseason. Also, Super Bowl, Chiefs and Eagles. Who do y'all have? I'm curious. Who do y'all have? Both number one seeds going at it. David says, here's the thing. Brian has put up more numbers than Reddick in his short time with us. What I'm saying is Burns is younger and has better numbers at his age than Reddick. can we afford to pay him? Burns is younger. That's a fair argument. But here's the other thing. Our pass rush took a big dip letting go of Hassan Reddick. We have to at least admit. Now, Brian Burns is still the leading sack leader and is going to a Pro Bowl. But we have to at least admit that our pass rush took a ginormous dip post Hassan Reddick. It took a big old dip. So, can we at least admit that? Ernest Capu, welcome to the stream. Panthers can win the NFC South in 2023. Very possible. Very possible. Joe Valesco says, guys, what do you think about the Panthers trading for DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, on paper, it could be great. It's from South Carolina. I mean, it would be nice. He's from South Carolina. It just really depends on how much he would cost and what we would have to get for him. I mean, I'm not 100% against it, but like, I think when it comes to high priority, we really got to hit on the quarterback. We really got to hit on the quarterback. We have to deliver on that. Mr. Gemini, welcome to the stream. What's up? And I don't know if you talked about this, but what do you think about Frank Reich saying that the players ain't running the ship? Yeah. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be running the ship. They're an important part of the ship, but they're not running it. And I agree. I agree. And that's, that goes back to what I was saying about how, players stopped playing for Matt Rhule and went to play on for Steve Wilkes. And yet, even in doing that, still didn't make the playoffs. But if there's going to be players on this roster that don't want to play for Frank Reich, bye. Steve Wilkes will land somewhere else just fine. He's already being interviewed elsewhere. I mean, I hope he lands somewhere and he's successful wherever that spot is, but fans got to start embracing that Frank Reich is our guy. Frank Reich is our guy. How do you feel about the turf question? That was kind of an interesting question. It looked like it kind of threw Frank Reich for a loop. Like, I don't think he understood the question personally. And I really don't know. I really don't know, Mr. Gemini. I felt like his response was more keyed on the players and not so much the turf, but I guess he just looked confused by it. That's really all I could say. That's really all I could say, to be honest with you. That's really all I could say. Free agency, Carolina Panthers better. Here's hoping. But we got a hit in free agency as well as the draft. David says, Rhule didn't just bring the team down. He brought the whole organization down, including the fans. And he's trying to sue us now. $5 million in severance. Can't stand Matt Rhule. And you know what, David? That's okay. That's okay. Like, I get it, but he's a distraction. Let Mr. Tepper just go ahead and just give him the $5 million. Let him be on his way to Nebraska. Get rid of that distraction. Don't let that build up. Mr. Tepper shouldn't let that build up. Go ahead and nip that in the bud. Give him his $5 million. Send him on his way. Send him on his way. Mr. Gemini says, and I still want to know what the showers was about. Oh man. Yeah, I didn't quite get that as well. I didn't get that one as well. But if anything, I like the sense of accountability, the vision that Frank Reich has as he spoke at this press conference. The emphasis on running the ball, getting the ball vertical, building a top 5 defense. Like, he gets it. He gets it. He believes as much as we can be successful running the ball, we got to have passing chunk plays. Because, like he specified, going on repeated 14-play drives, that's tough. That wears you down. We got to be able, 14 drives, if you can get in the end zone, that's great. But if you can get in the end zone in 14 plays, and then on your next possession, get in the end zone in 6 or 7, that's ideal. That's ideal. We got to be able to throw the ball downfield. Chunk plays. Running the ball is important, but he said it himself. This is still a passing league. He gets it. He gets it. David says, I believe in Reich, though. Also, Reich brings a no-huddle offense. Love this hire. Yeah, I think Jeff R. mentioned it either earlier this stream or in a previous stream that we're probably going to see a good amount of no-huddle. You got to remember, this was the same coach that coached up Peyton Manning. So, something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. Not to mention, this was somebody that was once a backup quarterback to Jim Kelly that was able to pull off 1 or 2 impressive comeback victories. So he at least has some sense of how to win as a player and as a coach. Okay, sure, he didn't play that many games for Carolina. But being that he has a sense on how to build up quarterbacks, especially being the fact that he once was a quarterback, it kind of ties in. David says, look at history when we run no huddle offense. When we were down, we score quick. Facts. Facts. Jake Delhomme did it. Cam Newton did it. But if anything, I appreciate his sense of accountability on what went wrong in Indianapolis, what led to him being fired. He shouldered that. He admits that's on me. We were running the ball well, and then it disappeared and we couldn't get the ball downfield. That's on me. That's the type of coach that I think will be successful. Accountability goes such a long way. And the fact, I mean, just going back to the top 10, the top 5, top 10 defense. Let me requote that. He says, and I quote, I think the defense has been obviously a strong suit, been a top level defense. We're always looking to get better, to be honest. Here's what a top 5 defense gives you an opportunity to do. Top 10 defense is going to give you a chance in every game. A top 5 defense is what can really elevate you as a team. That you can not only be in every game, but you can find a way to win every game when you've got a top 5 defense. That's big. And this is coming from an offensive-minded head coach. This is literally the words out of the mouth of an offensive-minded head coach. Mr. Gemini says, just a conspiracy theory that I heard, but I heard that the first game in Panthers history Frank Reich played in, they lost the game 20-23, and then he got hired in 2023. Well, yes, it was against the Falcons, lost in overtime. But, hey, that is, hey, you may be onto something there. David says, I always dreamed of a no-huddle offense, especially with Cam, but we had a defensive-minded coach in Ron Rivera. Wright gives me hope about the future, which is true. Now, and that's not to say that Cam didn't have any 2-minute drill success, but, you know, that high-flying, high-powered no-huddle, you know, calling a lot of audibles and stuff like that, we're not used to. So this will be different. This will definitely be different. Also, who do y'all feel will end up calling the plays? Because right now it's still unknown. According to Frank Reich, they're going to see what the offensive staff looks like when they get everybody together. It's going to depend on that and the coordinator. So he could be calling plays. And you know something? I wouldn't be against that. I expect Frank Reich to do a good amount of multitasking. I think he'll be a multitasking coach with the QB experience, wide receiver experience as a coach. Offensive coordinator experience. I think we're going to get a multitasking head coach out of Frank Reich. David says, hopefully we get the quarterback coach from Philly for our offensive coordinator. Vic Fangio for defensive coordinator. That's what I want. It would have been nice, but I believe he got picked up by the Dolphins. Yeah, I think he got picked up by the Dolphins to be defensive coordinator. Yeah. So he's going to the Dolphins. Wait, what do you mean he's still available? Wait, what? Does something go down? David? He's still available? How is he still available? Oh. Oh, he turned it down? What? What? He actually turned it down? Oh. Wait a minute. Is it because he found out that Sean Payton is going to Denver? Ooh. Ooh. You know what? That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Does Sean Payton wants him in Denver? Well, I mean, how will we still be able to well, I guess I mean, Frank Reich wants him. Frank Reich does want him. So, I mean, And then again, Carolina was willing to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that. Also, the Saints are going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator as well, because they no longer have Ryan Nielsen and Chris Richard. So the Saints are going to be looking for a defensive coordinator. David Screws says, but Ejiro's second best defense with Broncos will be available if Broncos get him. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Fair point. David says, it shocked me also because I thought he was hired by the Dolphins. Made me upset. Yeah, I feel you on that. It looked like it was going that way. Oh, man. Well, guess we'll have to continue to wait and see what happens. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for. But anyway, still a lot of work to be done, a lot to look forward to. Is anybody going to watch the Pro Bowl? I'm probably going to be too busy catching up on pro wrestling, so I'm probably not going to watch the Pro Bowl, or I might catch highlights of the Pro Bowl, but But Frank Reich wants excellence in Carolina. It's got a lot of work to do. But I can't wait. The Royal Rumble disappointed me. Yeah, aside from the Women's Rumble, it was eh. It was eh. But yeah. We'll see what happens though. But I'm definitely looking forward to how things pan out. Like I said, I'm sure we're going to see some more stuff develop after the Super Bowl concludes. But Frank Reich is here. We got Duce Staley on the staff. We're keeping James Campen. We're keeping Chris Tabor. David Screw says, glad I was able to help with Vic being available. Yes, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Indeed. But yeah, so we still retaining those two on the staff. Duce Staley is joining us. So things are starting to shape up. Now we got to see about this cap space. We know that the Bears are sticking with Justin Fields and are looking to shop their number 1 overall pick. It's a lot to keep an eye out for, y'all. But keep pounding. We're going to get through this. But that'll do it for this live stream. Also, be sure you check out the link to Game Beauty for an impressive lineup of video game-themed makeup and cosmetic products. And if you're interested in making a purchase, we got Valentine's Day coming up. Don't forget to use the promo code BlitzBallChamp, all in caps, and you can get 10% off of your order. So be sure to put that to good use. But for those that are checking this out later, let me know what your thoughts are on Frank Reich's press conference. How do you feel about Duce Staley joining the staff? How do you feel about us retaining James Campen on the offensive line? Chris Tabor and special teams? How do you feel about the Matt Rhule lawsuit, I guess? And we know that the Chicago Bears are looking to shop that number 1 overall pick. Should Carolina go hard to move up as far as they can to get their quarterback? Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank y'all so much for all the love and support. I want to thank everybody that came out and chatted, joined the conversation, and hope everybody has a blessed day tomorrow. And I will see y'all in the next video for another Carolina Panthers talk brought to you by BlitzBallChamp Gaming here on the U to the Tube. My name is Jason Ingram. Take care, and I will see y'all soon. Peace. Keep pounding.